Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was declared winner of the January 15th presidential elections with more than 71% of the vote, according to the Electoral Commission, securing another 5 years in office through 2031. His main challenger, National Unity Platform candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, rejected the results as fraudulent and later left the country for the United States. The election itself was widely described by observers as the most turbulent in Uganda's recent history, marred by heavy deployment of security forces, arrests of opposition figures, and violent crackdowns on protests. Despite the controversy surrounding the polls, regional leaders moved quickly to congratulate President Museveni. Among the first were Kenya's William Ruto, Rwanda's Paul Kagame, South Sudan's Salva Kiir, and Somalia's Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, all reaffirming commitments to regional cooperation and bilateral ties. Beyond Africa, Russian President Vladimir Putin also sent congratulatory messages.
I, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, do solemnly swear that I will well and truly exercise the functions of the high office of the President of the Republic of Uganda.
When Museveni first took office on January 26, 1986, after overthrowing General Tito Okello's military government, Africa looked dramatically different. 47 of the continent's 52 countries were led by different presidents than they are today. Over the decades, regimes have fallen through coups, elections, civil wars, and deaths in office. However, President Museveni endured, joining a shrinking club of Africa's longest-serving rulers that includes Cameroon's Paul Biya and Equatorial Guinea's Teodoro Obiang Nguema. Each of Museveni's inaugurations has reflected both his evolving stature and Uganda's changing political climate. His 1996 swearing-in attracted mainly regional leaders, among them Kenya's Daniel Arap Moi, Tanzania's Benjamin Mkapa, Rwanda's Pasteur Binzimungu, and Burundi's Sylvester Tindibatunganya. By 2001, the ceremony at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds had become a larger continental affair. Attendees included Sudan's Omar el-Bashir, Libya's Muammar Gaddafi, Tanzania's Mkapa, and Kenya's Moi, alongside South Africa's then Vice President Jacob Zuma. The 2006 inauguration marked a turning point. Although 30 African leaders had been invited, only 14 attended. Among them were South Africa's Thabo Mbeki, Zimbabwe's Robert Mugabe, Kenya's Mwai Kibaki, Rwanda's Paul Kagame, and Ethiopia's Meles Zenawi. That election, like the 2001 contest before it, ended in a Supreme Court challenge. Judges acknowledged widespread irregularities, intimidation, and harassment of opposition leaders, but stopped short of annulling President Museveni's victory. It was also the first election after the removal of presidential term limits from Uganda's constitution, a controversial amendment engineered between 2003 and 2005 that allowed President Museveni to seek another term. Western governments strongly criticized both the constitutional changes and the conduct of the polls. However, geopolitical realities soon softened international pressure, particularly as Uganda became a key ally in regional security operations against the Lord's Resistance Army insurgency across Uganda, South Sudan, and Eastern DR Congo. Subsequent inaugurations continued to blend diplomacy with political tension. In 2011, only 9 heads of state attended, despite invitations sent to 32 leaders. The elections preceding the ceremony sparked nationwide protests after rising commodity prices and allegations of state brutality. On Inauguration Day itself, convoys carrying visiting dignitaries, including Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan, were pelted with stones along Entebbe Road. The 2016 swearing-in drew one of the largest gatherings of African leaders, including Zimbabwe's Robert Mugabe, South Africa's Jacob Zuma, Tanzania's John Pombe Magufuli, and Kenya's Uhuru Kenyatta. However, controversy overshadowed the event after Sudanese President Omar el-Bashir, then wanted by the International Criminal Court, attended, prompting a diplomatic walkout by representatives from the United States, Canada, and the European Union. 5 years later, the 2021 inauguration unfolded under strict COVID-19 restrictions in what officials called a scientific ceremony. Although 42 heads of state had been invited and 21 reportedly confirmed attendance, only 11 African presidents attended in person, while others sent senior delegations. Historically, Museveni's inaugurations have drawn a recurring cast of regional allies, liberation-era comrades and African strongmen rather than Western leaders. As of Friday last week, government had confirmed attendance from at least 35 heads of state and delegations, mostly from Africa. Since the January elections, Western governments have remained critical of Uganda's political environment, particularly allegations of human rights abuses and suppression of dissent. Attention will now turn to Kololo ceremonial grounds not only to see who attends, but also what their presence says about Museveni's enduring influence after 4 decades in power. For supporters, the turnout symbolizes continuity and regional relevance. For critics, it may reinforce concerns that longevity in office has increasingly overshadowed democratic accountability. Either way, Tuesday's ceremony is said to become more than just a routine inauguration. It will serve as another chapter in the story of one of Africa's most enduring leaders.
And that I will do right to all manner of people according to the law established, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.